possibility that anyone might be following him. He kept up a steady pace, never turning around as he headed past cross streets and shops and atria toward the outer city wall. Han stayed with him, wishing he hadn't been so quick to give the city map to Lando. It might have been nice to have some idea where he was going. They passed through one final atrium and reached a section of warehouse-type structures abutting a vast mural that seemed to have been painted directly on the inner city wall. Braylea went straight to one of the buildings near the mural and disappeared through the front door. Han ducked into a convenient doorway about 30 meters down the street from the warehouse. The door Braylea had gone through, he could see, carried the faded sign Amethyst Shipping and Storage above it.
I just hope it's on the map,
he muttered under his breath, pulling his comlink from his belt.
It is.
A woman's voice came softly from behind him. Han froze.
Hello?
He asked tentatively.
Hello,
she said back.
Turn around, please. Slowly, of course.
Han did as ordered, the comlink still in hand.
If this is a robbery...
Don't be silly.
The woman was short and slender, perhaps 10 years older than him, with close-cut graying hair and a thin face, which under other circumstances would look friendly enough. The blaster pointed his direction was some unfamiliar knockoff of a Blastech DL-18, not nearly as powerful as his own DL-44, but under the circumstances the difference didn't matter a whole lot.
Put the comlink on the ground,
she continued.
Your blaster, too, as long as you're down there.
Silently, Han crouched down, drawing his weapon out with exaggerated caution. Under cover of the motion, with most of her attention hopefully on the blaster, he flicked on the comlink, laying both on the ground. He straightened and took a step back, just to prove that he knew the proper procedure for prisoners.
Now what?
You seem interested in the little get-together yonder,
she said, stooping to retrieve the blaster and comlink.
Perhaps you'd like a guided tour.
That would be great.